one of the reasons that I got so irritated at the discussion around the Chiefs, especially the last few years relative to Josh Allen and the Bills, and for the record, I want to say this in the front end. If I had an MVP vote today, I've always said I wish MVP postseasons were included for MVPs, but we're in too deep for them to reverse that now. But if the regular season ended, day after week 18 games were done, you gave me an MVP vote, I'm casting my ballot for Josh Allen. I would have. Because I always got on Josh for, my God, dude, you're amazing. Just cut out the mindless mistakes. And he did. He cut them out. The numbers weren't crazy, but the numbers weren't amazing last year. And so I'm like, if you can be the guy who still gives you that upside and just not even cut back on the interceptions, because every quarterback throws picks. Even the best quarterback throw picks. Cut out the mindless errors. And the only guy that is clearly better than you is Mahomes. Outside of that, I would take you over Lamar, take you over Joe Burrow, take you over anybody, except for Patrick Mahomes. And so I want to be clear on that in the front end. And Josh Allen did play solid in this game. But I have absolutely, especially last year when the Bills and Chiefs squared off in the divisional round, I got really, really mad at this is the modern day, the 2020s version of Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. That drove me insane. Because the Brady-Mahomes comparison, Mahomes is the modern day Brady. Hey, he's chasing Brady all the time. We'll see if he ends up getting there at some point, but he's the modern day Brady. Calling Allen the modern day Manning is a gigantic insult to Peyton Manning. I love Josh Allen. The man's not Drew Brees, much less Peyton Manning. And Drew, you know what I think of Drew? I think Drew's one of the most underrated quarterbacks ever. Peyton Manning, prior to winning his first Super Bowl, was a two-time MVP who arguably revolutionized the way the position is played. By the end of the Brady-Manning rivalry, which was the time Peyton Manning retired, Peyton had beaten Brady more times in the playoffs than vice versa, had 5 league MVPs, most in history, still is, by the way, and had 2 Super Bowl rings to Tom's 4. It would be really hard to make a case for Manning above Brady at that point, but it was the craziest thing you could say. Now it's what Brady did after that just separated from everybody by a pretty healthy margin. We'll see if Mahomes closes that gap over the next few years. He's been in the process of doing so. But Josh Allen has no MVPs. He has never been to a Super Bowl, much less won a Super Bowl. Why should I view him as the modern day Peyton Manning? And to me, I've always defined rivalries as this: is be it players, athletes, teams, whatever, is two guys, 2 teams, whatever, on similar levels, where one has at least gotten the other once. One guy has won up the other at least one time. Not only has Josh Allen never won up Patrick Mahomes, but there are 2 things. Number one, Josh Allen is now the first quarterback in the history of the National Football League. This has never happened, folks, to start 0-4 against another quarterback in the postseason. That's never happened before. There's a number of guys who have been 0-3. Brett Favre against Troy Aikman is an example. I think Phillip Rivers against Tom Brady is an example too, if I remember correctly. What else? Elway and Bernie Kosar was 0-3 against John Elway. There are other examples of that out there. No one has ever been 0-4. Josh Allen is now. And so you have that component to it. You also have the second thing, is not just that Allen has never beaten Mahomes in a playoff game. He's never outplayed Mahomes in a playoff game. So how in God's green earth could I call it a rivalry? And we can show you the numbers. AFC title game 2020. Mahomes had more pass touchdowns, fewer turnovers, better completion percentage, better passer rating, better QBR, and he won the game. The all-time great divisional game. It's one of the greatest football games I've ever watched in my life. The greatest quarterback duel I've ever seen, right? We're at the 13-second game. We will be generous to Josh and say that was a draw because they both had 4 touchdowns. They both had 0 turnovers, and Mahomes had more yards than Josh did. But again, Mahomes got the ball to start overtime, different overtime rules back then. This game actually prompted the new overtime rules, which I think it was a little odd. But Mahomes had better completion percentage, QBR, and he won the game. So let's call that a draw. And then the last two games, folks, it hasn't been close. Allen had more touchdowns and yards than Mahomes in the 2023 divisional, but Mahomes had the better completion percentage, passer rating, QBR, and he won the game. More in this game in just a second relative to Sunday's game. And then on Sunday, Mahomes, more touchdowns. He had that one really brutal turnover in I think, the second quarter. But more yards, better completion percentage, better passer rating, better QBR, and he won the football game. Is that it comes down to this for Josh Allen. For all of the complaining about the officials, which there have been the Houston Texans game, I thought was really muddied in terms of the discussion about the officials, but the Texans had legitimate gripes. The Will Anderson play, there were other plays, the Mahomes slide, all of those things were legit gripes. I don't think the Bills have one. You talk about the Xavier Worthy catch. Xavier Worthy has enough control of the ball because he's going to tie up with a Bills player, maintains possession as the ball hits the ground, all that. And then the Josh Allen 4th and short play, people acting like that wasn't 50-50 go either way are lying to themselves because there are angles that would support both arguments. That aside, all of those things happening, Mahomes the Chiefs doing what they do, coming up clutch the 4th, another Mahomes come from behind drive, all of that being said, you know what happened in this football game, folks? Josh Allen had the ball in his hands. He had the ball in his hands, down 3. How much time was left in the game? 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Josh Allen had the ball in his hands from the 30-yard line, from his own 30. Field goal ties it, touchdown wins. Oh, does that sound familiar to a year ago when Josh Allen had the ball in his hands, down 3 after his defense forced a punt on Kansas City. He's got the ball, 8 minutes and change to go, down 3, chance to go tie or win the football game. Now, I'm not saying that Josh, in this recent matchup on Sunday, if the Bills score, that they win the game. Because you know what we know? 13 seconds is enough time for number 15 in red to go down and do something special. But you can't, listen, I've been hard on Josh this segment. You cannot blame him for that 2021 loss. No reasonable person would. He scored 13 seconds left and never touched the ball in overtime. What are you going to do? Right? 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. He was great. So you have that component to it. But he had the ball with a chance to take the lead, send his team to the Super Bowl. Last year, ball in his hands, chance to take the lead, get past the Chiefs finally, and get to the AFC title game. And he fell short both times. This is not the modern-day equivalent. I'll use a cross-sport example. This is not Steph Curry versus LeBron James. This is Steph Curry versus James Harden. And ironically, I've seen some AI images on social media that have put Steph in a Chiefs jersey and Harden in a Bills jersey. This is Steph Curry versus James Harden. Now, Josh is not even close to the – I don't know if I've seen a playoff choker to the likes of James Harden ever. I've gone on Lamar. Lamar's not that bad. Like, James literally ran from the moment, and in some cases quit in the moment. Josh is nowhere near that discussion. But where it's, man, late in the game, 2 minutes to go, Steph looks loose. He's hitting big shots. He's getting to the rim. He's setting up Clay or Draymond's, delivering a big-time pass, and Steph's knocking down the shot. Remember that game 6 when Steph scored 0 in the first half, 33 in the second? Games like that. And then James Harden looks a little tight. Moment's a little too big for him. A little tense. You don't know if he's going to come through. You're pretty sure he's not. That's Josh Allen. Did you see Josh? Again, I try, and I usually fail, but I try not to be a body language expert on the show. But you did see that first drive of the game, right? When Buffalo went 3 and out, when Josh Allen did his darndest to throw an interception on those last 2 throws on 2nd down and 3rd down, threw it right to a Kansas City Chiefs. The second throw should have been picked by 2 Chiefs. Looked tight, looked a little tense. Body language was kind of, don't know if he's going to come through here. And even in that last drive, looked a little tight. Even the Spags blitz, and I put that more on Buffalo's coaching staff for not knowing, hey, big 4th down situation or 3rd down situation, whatever the case may be, Steve Spagnuolo's come with the blitz. What did he do against Brock Purdy and the Niners in the Super Bowl last year? He came with the corner blitz and Trent McDuffie. Like, that's his MO. I'm shocked that Buffalo didn't know that. But it's the different. Josh, it doesn't diminish what I view of him as a quarterback. It only solidifies where I'm like, he's amazing. And he's running into an all-timer. He's running into a Mount Rushmore guy who is, if he wins on Sunday, the context of what Mahomes might do in a week and a half, Tom Brady, the greatest ever, won his 4th Super Bowl at the age of 37. Patrick Mahomes might win his 4th at the age of 29. So, now, we do the on pace. He's on pace to, you can't do on pace necessarily when it relates to championships. Like, it's a year-by-year thing. But it is, some of it is you ran into a legend. Some of it is you ran into a juggernaut to a certain degree. And some of it is, for all of those juggernaut facets and things we take into consideration when picking these games, part of the reason people picked the Bills is because they thought, potentially, Josh would have the ball in his hands with a chance to win, and he disappeared. That's kind of been his MO for a long time in Buffalo. You need that big play, and with the exception of the 2021 game against the Chiefs, you're always left wanting a little bit more, whereas with Patrick, it's like, oh, yeah, he's got this. It's the same. It's the Brady feeling. If you are going against Mahomes a big game, you're like, okay, we're toast. He's going to get whatever we need. He's going to get it. Field goal, touchdown, whatever. Burn the clock. Heck, burn the clock. He'll do that too. That's what Tom did. Anytime if your Rudy gets Tom Brady, like, oh God, oh no, he's gonna do it to us again. That's what we're watching here. Josh Allen is amazing. Patrick Mahomes is a legend, and that's the difference. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.